that this one is a great one for you to get started.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm always down for getting stuff started. So let's do this thing. So this was a topic from a client of mine who is, of course, sick today, but he will have access to the recording if he doesn't make it onto the call. And the conversation started with having some curiosity around, like, what are all of the revenue generating opportunities for us inside of our teams, our market centers, and then KW at large? And how do you maximize those streams of revenue for yourself? And of course, when it comes to the team aspect, all of our answers will be a little bit different. And those are some things we can explore both for ourselves and for our staff, because how many of us have maybe had the situation where someone wants more money, wants a raise, but it's not warranted, it's not in the budget, and yet we might be able to help point them towards some financial opportunity inside of the company, Keller Williams at large. And creating additional streams of revenue is awesome and a passion of mine, net worth. So let's talk about it. So let's start maybe in the team and go broad. And I already know, like, seeing a couple of y'all's faces on here, that y'all have some really different opportunities for financial incentives inside the team. So let's just kind of collective brain dump, like, what are some ways that people are financially incentivized on the team, and how can we set up opportunity for additional revenue stream?
I mean, we have profit share.
And pretty decent profit share too, right? It's like,
yeah.
That's a huge one.
Yeah.
How much did you guys profit share, if you don't mind sharing, Angie, in 2021?
It was over $50,000, split up between 3 of us that were eligible. So
What is, just out of curiosity, Angie, what does eligibility look like?
you have to have been employed in the first quarter. So we do annual. And so you have to have been employed with the team in the first quarter. And then everybody has kind of weighted shares based on their salary and time with the team. And so there's a formula that then I put in the amount that's making profit share, and then it weights out what everybody's percents are based on that. And then the more we profit, the bigger percent of profits go to the profit share pool. So like every $100,000, another 5% goes in. So like it starts at 25% and then goes to 30 and then 35. So
Zach could probably tell us what page of the MREA that shows up on, probably. Our MREA.
I don't remember, but I can turn to it quickly. 209. Page 209 would be a profit sharing example you could follow.
Love it. Profit share is a great way.
Yeah, and then referrals, if your ops staff is licensed, they get a cut off of every referral they bring to the team.
Who else has some ways that team members can bring in revenue that is not directly their job, right? It's not like part of their job description, it's an additional opportunity.
I mean, just bringing in Sphere referrals for our listings or buyers.
Love it.
Say just investment properties, getting them, pocket listings or deals before they hit the market, getting in those investment properties.
Love that. So like the ability to see some stuff hitting the market before anybody else and maybe snatch it out.
And then we do some stuff with like trying to support team members' side hustles. So right now we have a team member that has like a side business, and she makes, embroiders dish towels and does that kind of stuff. And so we're kind of transitioning some of our closing gifts so that we can purchase things from her and support her side hustle. And then at one point we had a team member that had a side hustle cleaning houses. And so when we could steer a seller, before pictures or whatever, so trying to help people with their side hustles as well.
How about bringing on agents to KW?
Yeah.
That is definitely KW, not team specific, but KW opportunities, KW profit share. So Andrew was talking about team profit share, right? What the team profit shares back out. And I dropped an Excel spreadsheet in the chat for you guys. Team profit share. And then of course we have KW profit share, which we'll get to in a minute. Let's say I know a couple of you guys have some other interesting things we haven't hit on. Hannah, talk to us about how you guys provide some alternative revenue streams for team members who have been around for a while. I'm thinking about ownership opportunities.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lost there.
Like, excuse me. Yes, ownership opportunities. I've became an investor in the Market Center, a 1% shareholder in the Market Center, and then talked about being partner in business with our Rainmaker. So, but that was kind of a choice. Instead of getting a yearly bonus at the end of 2020, I decided to take a 1% share of the Market Center. So get to be involved with the other, I think, 8 investors in our Market Center. We've got, monthly meetings, and it's exciting getting dividend checks almost every month, or, at least a quarter. So. And then value, we do, I heard once from one of our calls or trainings, working on growing my sphere of influence to bring in referrals, to bring in bonus money or referral money that's more than my salary every month or at the end of every year. And so that's been a big goal for me to reach, to close, 15 plus from my sphere of influence, and that being a big source of business for our team. And then also sending out agent referrals from my sphere to agents all over the country. So I've really been working on that, and that's just easy 25% referral fee, or we don't even have to do anything. So, and then with the follow-up.
And Hannah crushes that, by the way. Also, if y'all are, anybody is agent referral based or sphere referral based,
Yes, I've really honed in on that.
And then she's not here, but I just on that theme of ownership, sometimes our teams are joint venture partners with other things like title companies. And so I've also seen, to Hannah's point, instead of a bonus taking place, an ownership percentage of the joint venture happens. So the team owner is rewarding them with ownership.
And we, yes, opened a title company in January here at our Market Center, and our agents were able to, they earned the bonus. I think each share was $5,000, and our team, as a gift to them, paid $2,500 of it, and the agent paid the other $2,500. And then Carrie gave a share to the team, or us admin team, since we don't have sales and volume to be able to earn to go towards buying our own. She gifted us as a bonus 1 share to split between the operations team. So, and another thing I've really worked on is my spreadsheet. So sphere of influence, running GCI, and honestly pulling an ROI on my own sphere of influence. And in GCI, once my bonus off the top was paid, our team grossed last year over like $89,000. So then presenting that to the team on top of, and that's after cost of sales, already paid, after my, bonus, that was profit to the team, pure net. It was it was going to be a very good negotiation tool. If I, asking for a raise or whatnot, that here, I've pretty much worked for free all last year with a profit in the net that I brought into the team. So keep that in mind too.
Amazing. Yeah, like when you're double, triple, quadrupling your salary, like you could ride a pony to work and your rainmaker will buy it for you. Like it's a great negotiation tactic.
Yeah.
And how many of us, like, we keep track, right, of our database turnover rate? So let's call it 10%, and we're like super honed into that, and we remind our agents, call your database, call your database, call your database, but then we don't put our own sphere on that same mechanism that turns 10% of the database over. So if we have only 10 friends because we're operations professionals and we just don't run in these large circles, but we put it on that campaign that turns 10 over, that's one deal a year. Think about that. Just by leveraging your own team's 36 touch. Who else has some interesting, because there's a couple we haven't hit up yet, but maybe nobody's here doing it, some other interesting compensation revenue streams unrelated to your actual, day job from your team?
We have a couple on the Curtin team. We haven't in the past year, but we used to a lot do team flips. So we would all buy a share in the flip, and we would have to put in like 4 hours of sweat equity, and then we would get that percentage return on the sale. And then we also, I partnered and opened a property management division in our team. So I'm 50% with that. I mean, it's not super lucrative, but every time we do a lease or put a rental on, it goes through our business. So those are two other ways we do.
So cool. So partnering in like a whole nother business interest, even bankrolled by the company and you're the labor, and then also flips. Anybody here doing investment properties like rentals that the team can buy? Tabitha, tell us about it.
So we do it internally. We haven't like opened it up, and Sarah is on the call here, but it is something that later this year that we do buy properties in specific areas. We like hone in on the walking distance to House of Worship like community. So we buy properties there and we hold them and we use them for people coming into town to tour properties, or to if a closing gets delayed, or really just in all different ways. And it kind of just sits there, and then it could be Airbnb'd out when it's not being used for the team. I don't know the structure on breaking that down with the team yet. That's why I'm not so like, I'd share more, but I don't know really how we'll structure that to break that down with the team. We have done on the prior team I was with, did the flipping, and that was really, really cool to do as a group. Unfortunately, it's not something we can take advantage of in our market right this second, but that's something we definitely want to implement in the future.
I hope what you're hearing is like, even just from your team, there are so many creative ways to provide financial opportunity for team members in the operations chairs that you are completely separate from job. As long as they've earned the right for that opportunity, the team can do all kinds of cool things. Anyone else doing something we haven't touched on yet from the team?
I mean, a lot of those ancillary businesses, I think, come into play. Like, I have a landscaping company that I prep all of our listings for. So kind of a lead gen, and then the lawn care side of it is a lead gen for the real estate side. So we have people, when they're ready to sell their house because they were cutting their lawn, we're the first person they think of too. I think a lot of those ancillary businesses that we've already mentioned, title, property management, getting the houses ready. What was the name of that? Inside staging companies, different things like that.
Very cool. Lots of cool opportunities floating around in there.
No transaction coordination mentioned yet, but that's another great opportunity. At least I don't think it was, but that's another great ancillary businesses, because a lot of us built such amazing systems why not scale it?
That's true, Zach. Like what have you built that you could sell? Even just as maybe it is a part of your job description, but it's a system or process, like you strip your marketing or whatever out of it, but could you sell it? Great point. With your Rainmaker's blessing, obviously, because probably that's their intellectual property, even though you created it. Other thoughts? Other thoughts on the team before we move to our market centers and KW, like our regions, KW as a whole? No? Okay, well, let's go to market center. What are some ways, or is anybody on the call generating revenue inside the market center apart from their duties on the team? And how?
To get the basic one that I hope everyone on the call is getting. I was an assistant team leader prior to this, so I did build a pretty good profit share. So highly recommend, if anyone's not taking advantage of that already, to to definitely tap into that as much as they possibly can.
Love that. And if you are not licensed, you can still have a KWUID, which makes you capable of getting profit share. So don't let not being licensed stop you from the profit share opportunity, right? Just talk to your market center team leader, MCA, whoever runs that for your market center, and just say you want a KWUID. Most of the time it's like 25 to 50 bucks a year to just have a KWUID, and that gets you profit share capability.
It's super cheap. And a lot of people don't know that.
Does everybody here have a KWUID? Most people, some no. If you're shaking your head no, go get one like today. It's your homework assignment. Go get your KWUID. That way, if you do, like your neighbor, you're talking about real estate, you mention it, they go down to Keller Williams, they decide to be an agent, your team leader onboards them. They're going to say, well, who brought you here? They're going to say, well, Sarah was talking to me about it while we were out in our yards. And they're going to put your name down there, and then you get profit share. It goes 7 levels deep. So if that person brings someone on, who brings someone on, who brings someone on, who brings someone on, you get a piece of that for 7 levels deep, and you can will it to 1 generation. What? Yes, you can. So go get your KWUID and make sure you are recruiting. You know, just by recruiting, it just means tell everybody how great real estate is, right? How could you could go recruit an assistant, make sure they get a KWUID so that they're in the profit share tree. And then they might go on to be a phenomenal recruiter for a team who recruit 10 agents, and they're still, those 10 agents are all in your downline because it goes 7 deep down. So you don't even have to recruit agents for it to work magic for you.
We actually recruit a lot of agents through co-op thank you cards. So we send thank you cards to everyone involved in the transaction, like all the like vendors and title companies and all of that, just in trying to like build those relationships. And a lot of conversations come from the thank you cards to the co-op agents of just following up with them and them saying thank you and us saying, oh, it's so great working with you. And then they always bridge into like how different KW is, because a lot of times they're single agents working with this big team that's more of a business, and it just really opens the door and having that conversation. And then we plug those people into either the agent who worked with them to help the agents build profit share, or if the ops person, if they were a part of that process, and that's a goal of theirs and theirs too.
Yeah, and you just have to hand it off to the team leader. The team leader will take it home. You know, you don't have to try and like have the needs analysis. Hand it off to the team leader and they'll do all the work for you.
It is awesome. It reminded me of what Gary Keller had said about, he was talking about investments, right? But he said every house we go and list, we first should be asking, should we buy it as an investment, right? And then if not, we should talk about selling it for them. It's same thing with the people, right? It reminds me that we should be doing that for everyone, and then first looking like, hey, could this be a great fit for our team, or is it a great fit for Keller Williams?
Yeah. And thanks, Zach. That's what I was going to add too. if you're doing any type of recruiting for your team, I had an agreement with my team leader that if they had somebody come in that was a fit for a team, they'd give our name and I'd look at them, and vice versa. If I was interviewing agents and they weren't a fit for the team, I'd walk them down to the team leader's office and introduce them and let them take it from there.
Super sweet deal. What else can we do in a market center to generate revenue for ourselves outside of our teams? Maybe you don't do it, but you've thought of it, still no bad idea.
I'm surprised. We have so many brilliant people on this call.
They're like so busy on their teams, they're not maximizing their revenue opportunities elsewhere. So I've had clients start TC companies inside the market center, right? Like you might be working on your team, but it doesn't mean that you couldn't hire a TC to then teach how to do the process and then TC other agents. So you might start your own company and then leverage that pool as basically a database, right? Because you've got like however many agents in your market center, 500 agents, 300 agents, however many you got, that you could potentially sell services to. Marketing services, I've had a client do that also, sell marketing services, not them because that was not okay with their Rainmaker, but they hired someone to do it and have a little self-employed company inside there. What about teaching? Anybody charging for classes inside their market center?
That's what I was going to say. KWU instructor is a good path if you're looking for some foundation. You don't need that, but it's a great starting place.
Yeah.
I don't teach, but my Rainmaker teaches the one thing across the country and gets paid.
Yeah, Beth, you could teach how to hire your first assistant or, transaction coordination 101 for new agents. Like you can teach anything. All you need is permission from your team leader. You don't need like some sort of stamp of approval. The exception would be that if you're going to teach copyrighted material, so like Beth is saying, if you're going to go across the nation teaching something copyright, then you probably should pursue what Zach said, the actual legal path for that. But if it's your own content, go nuts. And you could charge for that. You could charge for it in your market center. And if you do want to pursue it on a larger scale, Train the Presenter is the KW course you would have to take to start the process to become a master faculty or a KWU professor. Those are two separate things. And once you've taken Train the Presenter, then the process is you would go teach in your market center that copyright material, and then you could present in front of your, I forget what they call it. It's like a panel to pass. And once you do that, you have permission to go teach that for money regionally. So that is another way that you can pursue a whole nother set of revenue based off of already written content that KW has. But if you write your own content, you could charge for that as long as your market center is willing to let you have the conference room, Anyone have something they know they could charge for? Like, it's worth money and you could just put together a class on it?
Well, I've had several teams approach me about paying me to build out their Airtables for them. I just don't have the bandwidth to do it. So.
Now, might you have the bandwidth though to teach a class and then charge them money to come to your class and learn how to do it themselves?
So far, all I've gotten paid in is wine, but that works too. So.
I'll share another opportunity that's rather new that we just are going to be starting up this month with Abe Shreve with the MAPS Business Masterminds, Millionaire Business Network. And so you don't make money necessarily off running the chapter in your group, but as like, let's say any of you guys wanted to start a chapter in your area, that mastermind group in your area, technically I could make a referral fee on that. So kind of another referral based income stream for taking the Keller Williams models and making them agnostic across all different businesses and sharing that with business professionals and CEOs in your communities and areas through a mastermind, and obviously networking along the way, getting referrals locally for that.
I think sometimes guys don't realize like what incredible superstars you are. Like you have things that people would pay to hear you talk about today. You could charge money to access you as a person in your areas. You have positional authority, even positional leadership, just based off of the teams you serve. And, just start asking yourself the question, how could you turn that into a revenue stream for yourself and leverage the opportunities inside of Keller Williams? Because we all recognize, right? If you're a top team in your region, you're marketable. You could market yourself, your person, as being an authority, and you are that authority on those topics you are super passionate about.
Y'all, I about quit my job. I had someone do open to close. Has anyone heard of this program, open to close, or transaction management software?
Mm-hmm.
So there is a lady, she charges $1,500 to set this up, and she has nothing to do with the company. She is just separate. She literally just sets it up, and I guarantee she's done it so often, it probably takes no time at all, but it's daunting to set those systems up, right? A lot of them are just blank and you got to do it. She sets it up and gets it running, charges $1,500. I was like, I'm in the wrong business.
Think about QuickBooks and setting up the MRA2 chart of accounts for people. Like,
Oh,
you
you
could
could probably
totally
do like
that would take you no time at all, and people would pay for it.
So true.
I would have paid for that.
Yeah, we don't think about it because we're the expert, but now like flip it to like what Zach said, something where you're like, oh yeah, like somebody else could come set it up my database. Sure, like that's a headache. Or Phone Fairy, which is Andrea Ferry. She started an ISA company where she will literally come in. She only takes 2 or 3 clients at a time. And she will ISA your database while teaching your ISAs how to do it themselves until she hits your conversion rate goal for the team. And then she's peace out. But she literally can charge, I think it's like $2,500 a month to do that for you. She makes a boatload of money, and that's her whole business. Like she was a former team leader. She doesn't team lead anymore, obviously. She just set up. But to her, she understood the power of her ability to convert, and she turned it into a business. And once that business was generating enough revenue, she went into that full time. Like, not that I'm saying leave your jobs. Please don't do that. Don't say Coach Megan said leave my job. Like, what are you doing now that other people would pay you so much money for that it would be this incredible side hustle? Like you could cash flow quadrant, if you're familiar with that book, yourself into self-employment on that side for a real financial opportunity.
Hopefully what you're hearing us say is it literally could be anything that you've set up in a system program that you've done. CTE would be another great one, just to get some gears turning. Most people get that software and they have no idea how to set it up or actually use it.
So true. How about the larger, so like maybe regions, areas, and then KW as an entire company? So KW worldwide, all the way out to like the furthest that we can imagine. How can you create revenue, streams of revenue for yourself, and even the furthest reaches of the company? I mean, you're looking at 3 people who are a great example of one opportunity, right? Like you could always pursue coaching, becoming a coach, and leveraging that into your income opportunities. Anybody familiar with Growth Share from KW Worldwide? So if you have any international lovers of travel, Angie, then when you go to those countries and you meet someone there, that would be a great fit for Keller Williams, assuming there is a Keller Williams in that country, although I'll get to what if there isn't in just a second. Then you can connect them with the local Keller Williams. They have a version of Profit Share called Growth Share, and you literally from any country in the world can generate mailbox money from your travels if you meet people who you think would be a great fit and they become agents. If there is no KW in the area, but you find somebody who is a local real estate agent just crushing it, and you introduce them to KW Worldwide and KW Worldwide agrees, you are now the origin growth share owner of the entire country. How about that for opportunity? So where are you traveling to that you maybe haven't been on the lookout for, real estate agents that you could introduce to the KW world? I've been trying with Singapore. It's like, I'm going to get Singapore one day. Just know it.
Our rainmaker. I can't remember which country it is, but she's got one. So.
She's working on. Yeah. Myanmar's the other one. If they didn't have a civil war, like I got it. I know who.
And she already has it. I just can't remember which country it is that she brought on. So.
Yeah, it's an incredible opportunity.
And my predecessor coordinates that for KWRI.
So if you need to figure out how, Angie, text Angie. She's gonna tell you how to do it. What about leadership and ownership opportunities even of market centers? You would not be the first operations professional to go on to own the market center. If you wanted to do that or pursue that. I think Kristen Cole's DOO was the first one to go on to do that, but I can't remember for certain whose was. Anybody else doing something regionally or worldwide, global, international, etc.? Paula, Zach, did we miss anything? Those are all the things I can think of. Doesn't mean those are all the things.
I feel like we covered the bases pretty well, Zach.
Yeah, I was gonna say, everything I had pre-wrote down as far as KW goes, we covered, we went through. I did not have the growth share though. I did not know that about the country. So I'm always learn something, and that was my one thing. I did not know that.
Wow. We gotta start
Grabbing
hosting
my
our
shield.
retreats.
I'm heading to Singapore, battle with Megan over territory. We can get.
No way, I got the connections, man. I know all the
I'm
people.
coming along. I'm coming along. Please invite me.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. You
Yeah,
gotta
where's
pick
our
a
next retreat? Maybe we need to pick a country with no KW, right? Let's go do it. Let's go convert them. Get it done. Find the leader. Yeah. I've literally sat in Bill Soder's office over Singapore. I'm like, this is happening, Bill. We have to get this done. You can't compete, Zach. I'm already there.
I mean, is there a list of key target markets that KWRI is looking at? These are areas we need an office that we don't have anybody in yet, that you can just, set those as your travel destinations and, set up some meetings with realtors and just go to them. I mean, it's a whole vacation business model.
Totally is. There's not such a list.
Get paid to travel.
If you found the talent, you always, and again, if you're going somewhere where there is a KW, you can still just like here, be on the lookout for who needs that opportunity. Take them to the team leader there and pass them off, growth share. And then, write off something on your taxes. So next DO retreat, we're picking a different country, y'all. That's what I'm hearing you say.
I'm in.
That is going to make the Airbnb selection much more difficult than what we experienced before. So I hope you all are definitely ready for bunk beds if that goes down.
If we're going to Singapore, it's first class all the way. Thank you, Penny.
You know, a place in Thailand where we can all have our own beachside cabana for $4 a night. Like, we're set.
Okay, we've just switched the retreat to Thailand.
Make sure you know which side to go to because each side has a different rainy season. So
True. But beautiful. So did anybody learn something? What are you going to go pursue as far as additional streams of revenue based on our conversation to date? Make your money.
Nobody learned anything today?
I'm floored.
I just learned that. You know what else I wrote down? This is the honest. Like I'm in the center of Ohio, like almost right between Cleveland. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I could totally build out and create a TC business that I'm not a part of because there's nothing like that in my area. And I haven't really thought about it until I sat in the call writing some of these things down. And I'm thinking like, man, I always talk about it. I should just go do it.
Totally. Yeah. Or if we have a client, she's not here. I should not tell her genius idea, but she was like, what if I just built a retreat center that you hosted your DO retreats at? Is like, please do that. And then we can just come. Like, there's so many tangential, like.
Is she going to do that? Or she's not? Is she just holding off on doing it?
She's still talking about it. We'll see. I'm like, would you hurry it up? Like, go get your investors, girl. We need something for January. You're on the clock.
I'll private message her tonight because I told her I was going to follow up. And I'll be like, what's going on here? Like, I'm waiting for an announcement. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I'm like, I'll be an investor. That would make buku's money. Or think about this. Gary Keller just bought a white label service for I forget the name of the company he purchased. I can pull it up, but somebody an operations company that was going into market centers and doing all of the services, but then making it appear as though the market center was providing the services. So bought a white label company for operations for market centers. That's where Gary Keller thinks the market's headed. And he's got offers out for recruiting and onboarding companies. So who of you are recruiting and like what skill set could you be selling there or turning into companies there? Who is thinking of the services for market centers? And especially if you've got an OP team leader, you know, what does the future look like for you if your OP decides to go to the services model, and where do you have opportunity? Now, you had a lot of, you had like things that are mailbox money, you had things that put you into the doing it yourself category, and you had things that put you into hiring someone else to do it for you. Anybody other than Zach inspired to go increase their revenue through one of those opportunities? Abby gave a baby nod. She's like not going to commit publicly in front of us.
Yeah, we are working on like a property management thing. Zach and I have been talking about it. So just making sure that I'm just going to go out and start asking people like, hey, can I manage your property? And we'll see what happens.
Why not? Good for you.
One or two of us on the team have talked about doing a flip. One of our agents she did 1 or 2 last year. And so she was curious if I wanted to go in on it. And I said, yes, sign me up. So
Hannah, tell us about, this is tangential. It's not because of KW, but it is because of KW, because now you are in this incredible industry where you can make money about 800 ways. So tell us about the opportunity you uncovered in your area to buy stuff off the auction block.
Oh, yes. So a friend and I, we were brainstorming one night. And here in Arkansas, we have an auction website of delinquent taxes that you are put on a list, and you've got after so many years of delinquent taxes, you get multiple warnings, multiple letters sent, no response, then your property goes up for auction. Home, there's, very large properties up to $1 million, up to just a $400 lot. So a friend and I, we bid on this lot. We ended up winning it for $400. So paid the auction company $400, and the value of the lot is about $7,000. And it's in a neighborhood on a lake that has 0 POAs, but you have to have an address from Fairfield Bay to access the lake, the marina, the golf courses, and all the things.
First of all, I hope you just heard that you can buy lakefront property in Hannastown for $6,000 even without the auction site. And if you are thinking of investing somewhere, maybe go there. But now carry on, Hannah, because you also told us you bought it for $400. So we're interested.
Yes, not lakefront. It's a neighborhood right beside the lake. So
Lake access.
Lake access. So anyways, that's one of our clients actually from New Jersey. She had just have done that, and we sold it very quickly because we actually got out there and took photos and took drone photos when nobody else would, other agents, and we sold hers within a few weeks. And so I just kind of did this exact same thing. And yeah, we talked about, we're trying to work on getting the limited warranty deed, and so we're working through some title things, but yeah, we've got a warranty deed coming in our name really quickly. So.
And in your market, Hannah, tell everybody how long the owner has to reclaim that property, because it's very different in my market. So just listen to this.
Once it has officially been bought like through the auction from us, they have 10 days to respond, which is 0 time, hardly at all. So which is fabulous in my case. And their taxes are like $19 a year. So it's not like it's a whole lot of money. So with that, the title is coming to us clear and free. And
10 days, not 2 years, 10 days, 10 days. So if you're not all trying to figure out how to send Hannah as much money as you possibly can so she can buy you some lots to resell, then, I don't know what you're doing with your life.
Yep.
But what a cool thing, like, because of the industry you're in, because of the experience you have, you can go just bid on get a lot for $400 with lake access. It's wild.
Yeah.
So everybody go Google the auction site for your county now.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, what a cool topic. I just love this topic. If you're not part of a net worth club somewhere in your team with your coach, go create one, go make one, like have these conversations all the time. So you're constantly thinking, how do I increase my revenue? How do I increase what I'm making so that I can invest more, get more passive income? What are my opportunities? You could probably, like Hannah, double your income through referrals alone. What if you could triple it again with one of these side opportunities, profit share, growth share, starting companies, hiring someone to do something that you know how to do and teaching them to do it? It's endless opportunity.
And it grows on itself, right, Hannah? Like, you bring in these referrals, you get extra income. You can take that extra income and invest it in something else. Like, before you know it, it's grown and grown and grown because you've taken advantage of other opportunities.
Yes. And what I'm really, once I get some time, one weekend, I really want to dive in and just look and start sending letters to some of these sellers or people that are on this auction website, and just honestly go behind the auction website and just be like, hey, I will pay your taxes clear and free, transfer over the deed, and we'll call it good. Because they didn't buy it but for nothing 10, 15 years ago and completely forgot about it. So yeah, writing letters, gonna get my stepmom an attorney to write up a letter for me and just offer it to them. Be like, hey, I'll take it. I'll sell it, I'll buy you outright at this price and pay off your taxes. So
awesome.
Another option.
And if you have something similar in your area with a 10-day period, I hope you heard her say there's like $1 million homes there. Even if you can't afford to go in and buy $1 million home for $500,000, A, who do you know that you could go in and that investment with? And B, if you absolutely can't find anybody, call those people up and offer to list it and at least get a referral commission out of it.
Yeah, I was telling Megan there was $1 million home on another lake down South Arkansas, and they were, I think, 200 grand in delinquent taxes. And so the, bank or auction or whoever was IRS, Uncle Sam was about to take the home. And so I did find it on the MLS because I called another friend that had the cash. I was like, hey, I have an opportunity. Let's talk like today. So, and then it was listed immediately.
And if you can't find people with the cash, call each other. You might all go into an investment opportunity together. Like, think outside the box. The money is there somewhere when you find a good deal. Like, there is money to take advantage of it. Okay, gang, what are we talking about next week? What is next week?
We don't have a topic, so we need a topic for next week.
We have a couple of housekeeping. One, we're going to pick the topics here in just a couple minutes. Before that, reminder that Shift is our next book, which a lot of us have already started reading when I went through, but that is the next book we'll be discussing. So make sure you have that. And two, for mastery clients only, meaning you have a mastery contract, don't forget to register for digital spring masterminds if you're not going in person. And the reason I bring that up too is I notice a lot have changed their mind and you're still set for live. And that may not get you digital access because of the way they're doing it, because they're expecting you to go live. So just make sure you registered and it was for digital.
If you're going digital, if you're going in person, it's in person.
Thank you, Paula. Yes. Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, they did add Keith Urban to the lineup for the Mastery event. So if that changes your mind, get your tickets and let's go.
Who else is going in person? Okay.
So Noah and Hannah, we're gonna have a big ops party. No, there's a couple other people going, for sure, but it's sparsely attended this year. I'm surprised by ops people. Obviously, plenty of agents.
All right, so topic for next week. Thoughts?
Well, I have a thought. How about conflict resolution process?
I love that because I feel like we only touched the surface with Fierce Conversations, and we could kind of bring that back full circle and maybe get into some of the actual models.
I think the differences between staff and agents are where it gets very clunky for me anyway. The two, it's very different scenario. You're working with people who have their own businesses and people who work for you. And the people who have their own businesses kind of work for you also. So very, very odd scenario for me personally. So that's just a suggestion.
Everybody good with that? Or any other ideas?
I like it.
Okay. Conflict resolution.
Any other housekeeping, Zach? Did we hit it all?
That was it. We got it.
Nailed it. We're the best. Okay. Well, we'll see you next week then for conflict resolution. And don't forget, it is not too late to transfer to in-person if you really actually, I know we made a joke, but if you really do want to come, it's not too late to do that. So claim your ticket or transfer to in-person. If you've changed your mind the other way, don't forget to do that too. Thanks, y'all.
Bye.